Yes, thank you. So Sophie, why should the business world get behind this initiatives and will it apply retrospectively?
Yeah, so to that point around retrospective kind of application, the answer is no. And it's really not about kind of looking to the past. It's about a future framework for how we do business. So I think there are kind of three key points to this question. And we've got an open letter on the Ecocide website, which we can share so businesses can easily endorse this. But I think there's three things. Firstly, it's timing. I mean, here in New York, it's really clear that businesses are now calling on government for further regulation so that we're not held back by governments who think that businesses don't want this. We do want absolutely stronger laws and regulations that will help to create a level playing field as well for businesses, and further opportunities to unlock innovation. And there's a real shift now as businesses are starting to realize, and governments too, that we have the foundations and instruments to make real progress here. So let's absolutely move ahead with this, and also it's absolutely necessary for the just transition, which is a key part of us succeeding in our fight against climate change. We need to bring everyone along, and you need accountability and justice to be a core part of this, and for peace, which is obviously, talking about peace one day, that is what we need. We can't have peace without justice. So that's timing. We have a unique opportunity now. There's a fantastic opportunity in terms of the business case. We're seeing a kind of a shift in consciousness moving towards regenerative business models away from extractive. We think that, we see very clearly that those business models are a thing of the past. And we now want to move ahead. And then in terms of that, the companies that are not part of this positive shift, absolutely, they need to be kind of held accountable for that. And they're choosing to invest relatively little of the vast resources that they have actually accumulated, largely through ecocidal activities anyway, in the green transition, in the just transition. And we absolutely need them to be held to account also for any greenwashing practices, etc. So we need to draw a line under the practices and the business models of yesterday towards regenerative business models to bring in a new future.
I completely agree with you. Thank you. So, Princess Esmeralda, you have worked extensively with Indigenous leaders. What have you learned, and how do they relate to the idea of the Ecocide law?
First of all, the Indigenous people have always called for something like Ecocide law without knowing the name exactly, but for them it's something absolutely essential. They live in nature. They don't believe that nature is a resource. For them, they are part of it like all the other living species, and there is a very strong cultural also link. So for them, they always talk about ecocide and genocide. Why? Because all the damage to the environment is causing a lot of death to them, with the rivers that are poisoned, with the oil spills, but also because they are trying to protect nature and the environment. And for that, they are putting their life at risk. We know that they are being killed. And we can say that on average, it's 4 indigenous protectors who are killed every week in the world. Not only in the Amazon, the Philippines, everywhere. So this link between genocide and ecocide is very strong. And so we can learn a lot from, obviously, their knowledge and their wisdom.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you for that. So I have an open question, and I'd specifically like to ask Sophie, do you have hope that humanity will survive?
I absolutely do. I'm under no illusions that the next few years are going to be bumpy for a number of reasons, not just environmental, the geopolitical situation, a sense of some countries pursuing national interests over clearly being proactive in solving global problems. It means that, we are going to be in for a tough ride. But I think, with civil society, with business, with non-state actors in particular, we've seen a huge amount of positive and proactive kind of progress towards the fight in climate change and the just transition. So I think if we continue to mobilize, we continue to listen to each other, to really hear what others are saying and make sure that we're bringing everyone along with us, eventually I think we will prevail. But I think it's going to be a tough ride, but we absolutely need to have perseverance, both on the business side and the civil society side, to help to bring governments along at a time when they might be looking in other directions.
Thank you for that. Jojo, do you have any words to add to that?
Well, I would say that we absolutely have to be optimists. We all have to be activists as well, like in our own arenas. It doesn't just mean, an activist isn't just someone that carries a placard. It's very much that person too, but we can all in our different ways be activists, and there's no time to be anything else. But we also have to be optimists because, how can you actually create something if you don't believe it's actually possible to do? And so we have to be optimistic in order to actually materialize what we need and what we want at this critical juncture where it's a kind of make or break for humanity, really.
Yes. Thank you. So, Princess Esmeralda, what can individuals, businesses, NGOs, policymakers do to help put in place a law to stop ecocide?
Well, we all have to act. And as Jojo said, we need hope, we need action. It's very important. And nothing in history has been made without the civil society, the citizen, just standing up and saying enough is enough. So now is the time to say enough is enough with the destruction, with the climate crisis, with the ecological crisis. We all have to work together. Yes, with business. Yes, with government, but put a lot of pressure. We need millions of people acting. Everybody can do something. And I think we have really to realize now that we need to be activists in different forms, but the time is now.
Yes, the time is now for us all to act. Sorry, Jojo.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that this is actually all about a conversation, because putting this law in place is about governments getting behind it. That means it's about politicians understanding it. And politicians only tend to turn up at the party when people are already there having a good time. So it's about everybody talking about ecocide and growing this conversation at every level. And we actually just this week launched an open letter for businesses to get behind this law as well as a positive framing for the direction we need to go in. Because right now there's lots of amazing solutions all being discussed, for example, at New York Climate Week. And this legal framing will make it easier for all of those solutions because it will level that playing field. So it's all about everybody joining the conversation.